Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Christmas Cabin Fever. It's a really long title, but yeah, this is the Diary of a Wimpy Kid Christmas special, brand new, 2023. It is an hour and 5 minutes long, and yeah, Cabin Fever. Well, I'll get to that in a second, what that's about, but it is continues the animated film special originals that Disney Plus has curated since they got the rights to it, I guess, through 20th Century Fox. The original live-action films are also on Disney Plus, at least last I checked. I've seen a few of them, not all of them yet, but they're adding more and more of these animated ones. I think they're great because they really stick to the look of the Jeff Kinney art style from the original books that they're based on, and really adds the character to it. And you also don't get stuck in that situation where you have children playing the parts and then you get 2 or 3 years between movies and you find that their voices have changed, they're 4 feet taller, and you no longer have a Greg that is, oh, he's 8 or 10, and now he's 15 and 20. Yeah, you can't do that. Or you just have to keep recasting, or you just make a crap load of these movies all back to back to back. And they're children, and so they can't work constantly if you want to crank out a trilogy of these movies. In this case, animation, you can recast without anybody knowing the difference for the most part, usually. So yeah, this is a pretty good Christmas themed story. It's, if you know the Diary of a Wimpy Kid stories, they center around Greg Hefferlin. I want to say Hefferlin. Well, okay. Anyway, Greg. We'll just call it Greg. I know it's an H last name, and I can't seem to. Heffley. Greg Heffley. That's all I had to do. Turn around. Greg Heffley and his family, well, they're about to celebrate Christmas, and Greg is a greedy little guy. He's like most kids. He wants a really cool present. He wants a new video game system, and he's got it all figured out. You got to be good, at least for the 2 weeks before Christmas, to make sure that you get the thing you want most from Santa. And he thinks he has it figured out. And of course, there's moments where it's just like, oh, well, he gets asked, have you been good all year? He's like, all year? No. What are you talking about? How can anybody be good all year? Well, I mean, you figure that him being the protagonist, the main character of this, he'd be the good guy, and he is, but he's an awful friend for the most part. He has a friend named Rowley who is innocent as the driven snow, pure as driven snow. He is sweet, he is kind, he is helpful, he believes in Santa, is as the greatest being who ever lived. He is uncorrupted. Whereas Greg has an older brother named Roderick, and that, being the middle kid, yeah, can sometimes have that effect. Roderick is often a bully to Greg, treating him as older brothers tend to do. And then there's a little Matty. Why can't I remember his name? Come on, little kid. Little tiny kid, Manny. I knew it was an M. Man, my brain is just not working tonight. Manny is the baby. He's a toddler, basically. And then mom and dad. Well, I'm not going to spoil the entire story, but let's just say Greg and his buddy Rowley get in a bit of trouble. And they break a snowplow. Accidentally. But they kind of make it into a bigger deal than it really is. And, well, it is a big deal. But they're almost sure that they're going to just lose their chance at any toys this Christmas. So they hide proof that they were ever there, that it was even them. And Greg is constantly looking over his shoulder, wondering if he's going to make it through Christmas. And Rowley is also, he drags Rowley into this, and Rowley believes everything Greg says. Everything. Because that's just sweet and gullible as a kid. So, as a kid can be. Not only does his own conscience bother him, we also have an external presence, not just Santa watching you while you sleep, while you're awake. There's a little bit of a play on Elf on a Shelf when Mom brings out an old toy of hers and sets it on the mantle. It's a green goblin-looking elf-like thing that has this demented look on its face that menaces Greg at every turn. It doesn't move as far as anybody can tell. It just sits there and looks at him menacingly, at least in his own head. So it's a comedy, obviously, and it's the stories that come out of these things, these Diary of a Wimpy Kid, the stories. Greg is usually kind of the victim to a certain degree, but also he makes his own trouble. And he learns a lesson from this, as each of these stories do, and as they normally should for stories for kids like this. He learns that it's not a good idea to be dishonest or selfish or anything else, especially Christmas time. So, yeah, it's not a it's not a strange story to add to this, but in the way they do this, it is completely unique and it's fun, and all the Diary of a Wimpy Kid stuff is pretty great. It's pretty fantastic. Even the fact that the animated stuff sometimes completely remakes the live action stuff, which is also, they're both a remake of the books. So yeah, I say if you get a chance this Christmas, check it out. It's worthwhile. It's worthwhile watching. Lots of just little nods to other things, little Easter egg type things in it. Well, at one point they're playing charades and Mom is just not doing a good job, and Roderick just goes, "Back to the Future." I don't know, like, it's out of nowhere. Just doesn't mean anything, but I like the fact that they just mentioned Back to the Future. Oh, the cabin fever part. Well, during all this, and Greg hoping to avoid prosecution or getting caught, the power goes out in town. Power goes out in the home, and everybody's trapped with each other. And you get to see the dynamic as everything starts to slowly disintegrate between the five of them, Mom, Dad, and the three boys. And yeah, everybody goes kind of wacky in their own way. They handle the issues in their own way. Will Greg and Rowley get caught? Will they be able to, not be revealed as the people who broke the snowplow, keeping the city under lockdown for so long during the snowstorm that takes out the power? Well, you'll have to watch to find out. So I highly recommend it, and it's always, like I said, it's always a good time with the Diary of a Wimpy Kid gang. So what was I gonna do next? Oh, geez, I've already forgotten. I've done this before, and I'm sorry. I need to check. Oh. No edits. We're gonna watch a series. I'm probably gonna watch all of them. These are Disney Junior, though. It's Mickey's Christmas Tales. I think there's only 5 of them. They're like 3 minutes long each or something. But so yeah, Mickey's Christmas Tales from Disney Junior is what we're watching next on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that.